Hi everybody, welcome to the vlog. It's Brian with Gold Arrow Fitness. It's football Saturday today and I am wearing my football jersey to celebrate. I know Clinton Portis doesn't play for the Redskins anymore, but at 33 years old, I'm not about to go to Foot Locker and get the latest jerseys. Is Foot Locker still a thing? I know there's a lot of people out there watching this today that think that diet, exercise, eating healthy, all that jazz is like next to impossible. I know that because people tell me that. It's not next to impossible. The only thing that really makes a difference is your behavior over a long period of time. The easiest way to change behavior over long periods of time is to form good habits. A lot of what we're going to talk about today is from this book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, I think is how you say his name. And about 40% of everything we do every day is habit. Okay, so that's a large chunk. I've seen documentaries and read other articles that suggest that even a higher percentage than 40% is habitual. But regardless of what the exact percentage is, a large chunk of what we do every day is just habit and routine. So that's why it's so important to form good habits. What an actual habit is defined by where the activity takes place in your brain. The book calls it chunking, and I'm just going to read what the book has to say about chunking and how it defines it. The process in which the brain converts a sequence of actions into an automatic routine is known as chunking, and it's at the root of how habits form. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of behavioral chunks that we rely on every day. Some are simple. You automatically put toothpaste on your toothbrush before sticking it in your mouth. Some, such as getting dressed or making the kids' lunch, are a little bit more complex. So, we can all relate to those things. It's stuff we do every day. We probably barely even notice that we do it because we just do it every stinking day, and it's a habit. Other behaviors are so complicated that it's remarkable a small bit of brain tissue that evolved millions of years ago can turn them into habits at all. Take the act of backing your car out of the driveway. When you first learned to drive, the driveway required a major dose of concentration, and for good reason. It involved opening the garage door, unlocking the car door, adjusting the seat, inserting the key into the ignition, turning it clockwise, moving the rear view and side mirrors, and checking for obstacles. Putting your foot on the brake, moving the gear shift into reverse, removing your foot from the brake, mentally estimating the distance between the garage and the street while keeping the wheels aligned and monitoring for oncoming traffic. So that's a great example of something that was probably really complicated for all of us at first, but the more we do it, the easier it gets and the more routine it gets, and that activity is moved to a different area of the brain. It's that chunking that the book is talking about. And a little caveat to that is I see a lot of, like on Instagram and YouTube, I see a lot of these videos and pictures that are like fitness motivation, and I just want to say that's a bunch of crap. Do not rely on motivation. Motivation sucks. It'll fail you every time you get hungry, every time you get tired, if you're cranky, if your favorite football team loses. You're not going to be motivated all the time, so don't rely on that. Form good habits and rely on your good habits. That is what will never let you down. Now, the biggest contribution that this book makes is that it defines what a habit is. It gives structure to habits. So this book defines habits as having a trigger, a routine, and a reward. So something that initiates the action itself, and then a reward for that action. The book defines this as a habit loop, so we'll just talk about it as the habit loop from here on out. This process within our brains is a three-step loop. First, there is a cue, the trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and which habit to use. Then there is the routine, which can be a physical, mental, or emotional action. Finally, there is a reward, which helps your brain figure out if this particular loop is worth remembering for the future. The cue and the reward become intertwined until a powerful sense of anticipation and craving emerges. So when a habit is ingrained, you get the cue, or the trigger, and then you start craving the reward before you even complete the routine. Later on in the book, it gives a great example of habits and exercise. I'm just going to read this excerpt to you. To understand the power of cravings and creating habits, consider how exercise habits emerge. In 2002, researchers at New Mexico State University wanted to understand why people habitually exercise. They studied 266 individuals, most of whom worked out at least 3 times a week. What they found was that many of them had started running or lifting weights almost on a whim because they suddenly had free time or wanted to deal with unexpected stress. However, the reason they continued, why it became a habit, was because of specific reward that they started to crave. In one group, 92% of people said they habitually exercised because it made them feel good. They grew to expect and crave the endorphins and the other neurochemicals that workouts provided. In another group, 67% of people said that working out gave them a sense of accomplishment. They had come to crave a regular sense of triumph from tracking their performance, and self-reward was enough to make the physical activity into a habit. I think that's just like so true. You gotta have that reward, that sense of accomplishment. You can even reward yourself with a protein smoothie, or you allow yourself to have maybe a drink at night if you work out. But you need some sort of reward. Like it said in the book, it could just be that endorphins, the feeling good. But when you want a routine to become habit, you have to have a reward in there. I think a great example that we can all relate to of craving a reward is when we get a notification on our cell phones, or our cell phones are ringing. As soon as that cue goes off, most of us have just this like overpowering urge to see who the heck's calling us, what the heck they want. Try letting your phone go off, not looking at it. Let's look at some almost unintentional habits, kind of like the book talked about, people turn exercise into a habit. Let's look at some other examples like that. So you forget to pack lunch for work or school on a certain day. So then you go to fast food instead. That could turn into a habit that could last months, if not years, if you don't get a handle on it. Another example is you're going through the grocery store checkout aisle. You may have never grabbed a candy bar or a pop or a soda for everybody else out there outside of Michigan. But you do it one time, it turns into something that you do every time over months or years. Another example could be having a beer or a cocktail with dinner. You can go and just drink water or whatever at every meal, but then you might have one drink and that could trigger a habit that unintentionally forms. Now those are just some examples of some bad habits. An example of a good habit is you throw a salad in with your dinner. And then maybe you start having salads every night. Probably the best and the easiest habit to form in fitness and health is logging your own food. And I'm a huge proponent, as you probably know if you watched my vlogs before, of the Lose It app. And that has the cue, routine, reward structure built right into it. As soon as you're gonna put something in your mouth, food or drink, that's your cue. Okay, the routine is logging what you're eating or drinking, and then the reward is built right into the app itself, because you can see at the end of the day, did I stay under my calories? Is my split between proteins, carbs, and fat appropriate for me? You also can see if you've exercised that day right in the app. So the food tracking and logging is a great habit. It's perfect because it has the cue, routine, reward built right into it, and it's very effective. And if you make that a habit, that's going to get you results over time. Thanks for watching today's vlog. I got some football to go watch. I'll catch you later.
Is it impossible to achieve your fitness goals? Have you tried and failed over and over again? Don't feel bad. Millions of people can relate, but what most don't realize is that the main reason for this is the inability to change behavior, and that's why Gold Arrow has introduced fitness consulting. What is fitness consulting? It's having professional guidance through one of the most difficult endeavors that you will attempt. Consultants are more than just coaches and give you much more than just a plan. They provide knowledge, support, and techniques to get you through the barriers that have held you back. An app called Lose It is the key tool that connects you to your fitness consultant, making sure you are never alone. If you're serious about finally breaking through barriers and living out your vision, go to goldarrowfitness.com and click on Fitness Consulting. In the meantime, subscribe to Gold Arrow Fitness on YouTube for free content, workouts, recipes, and fitness tips. There's no better time than right now to start living your vision that you have for yourself. Join Gold Arrow Fitness and take the first step to a healthier you.